Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the First Time Home Buyers Workshop. My name's Rico, and I'm excited to be your guide today as we dive into one of the biggest and most exciting milestones in your life, buying your first home. Buying your first home is a significant decision, and it's normal to feel a little nervous or even unsure about where to start. And that's why I've created this workshop, is to provide you with the tools, knowledge, and confidence to navigate this process with ease. Whether you're ready to buy the next few months or just starting to explore your options, you're in the right place. I'd like to make this as interactive as possible. If you have any questions in regards to purchasing your first property, put them in the chat, right? For those who emailed questions prior to the webinar, I will cover those towards the end. Now, here are some of the more common questions people have when they're purchasing their first property. First, are you even ready to buy a home right now? You know, how do you figure out what you can afford? And what's that whole pre-approval thing people are talking about? Are there programs to help, right? And why does it feel like such a secret? What if there are costs that you're unaware of? I mean, no one wants to get in over their head. And finally, how do you make sure you're not overpaying or making the wrong decision in such a competitive market? If you thought any of these, you're not alone. That's why we're here today to answer these questions and give you a clear roadmap towards homeownership. My commitment to you is that by the end of this workshop, you'll have a solid understanding of how to qualify for a loan, find the best financing options, and avoid the common mistakes many first-time home buyers make. And so what we'll cover is, of course, common errors and how to avoid them, a simple 5-step blueprint for buying your first home, insider tips on financing, budgeting, and finding the right home for you, resources and programs available, how to take action and get started. My goal is to leave you feeling confident and empowered with a clear roadmap to take the next step towards homeownership. To tell you a bit about myself, my name is Rico. I'm a realtor with eXp. I specialize in guiding first-time buyers like yourself through the home buying process. I've had the privilege of assisting many people in finding their perfect home. I've seen how overwhelming it can feel, but I've also seen, the joy, the pride that comes with, becoming a homeowner. And that's what inspires me to do what I do. This workshop isn't just about providing with information, it's about giving you the confidence and tools to take action. So, without any further delay, let's jump right into it. The first mistake that people often make is skipping the pre approval process. What that means is it happens when buyers start searching for homes without knowing their financial boundaries or getting pre approved for a mortgage. Let me tell you why it's so important. Pre approval isn't just a formality, it's a foundational step in the home buying process. Without it, you're essentially shopping blind. You might fall in love with a home that's outside of your budget, or worse, you can miss out on your dream home because you weren't prepared to make an offer. Pre approval also shows sellers that you're serious. In a competitive market, sellers prioritize offers from pre approved buyers because it reduces uncertainty for them. So, the solution, before you even start looking at homes, talk to a lender and get pre approved. This will give you a clear understanding of what you can afford, what your monthly payments might look like, and how much cash you'll need for your down payment and your closing costs. The second mistake is skipping the 5-step buyer blueprint. This is when buyers jump right into house tours or offers without following a clear game plan. So let's walk through the 5 steps. First, we've discussed already, get pre-approved, right? It's your starting point, right? It's, necessary for you to know exactly what you're getting into. Second, set your budget. It's not just about the sticker price of the home. You need to account for all costs. That includes taxes, insurance, and maintenance. Next, choose a right realtor. A knowledgeable realtor can save you time, money, and stress by guiding you through the process and negotiating on your behalf. And as you'll see there, it does say to know the market. And when we say that, we're not talking about, whether or not you know where the schools are, where the closest grocery stores. I mean, realistically, we have Google Maps for stuff like that. What you really want your realtor to know is to be able to point out, hey, that property there that has that great sticker price, right? Part of the reason that is because the building envelope needs to be redone. And that's going to cost anywhere from 50,000 to 150,000 through a special levy. Are you prepared for that? Hey, that property, I know it says here it's been on the market for 10 days, but in reality, I've seen it for the last 6 months. So there's a really good chance that we can negotiate a really good deal. All they've been doing is taking it on and off the market, right? Working with a realtor who knows the market, knows what's going on with different properties is invaluable to you. Four, define your priorities. Be clear what's non-negotiable, like location, number of bedrooms, and what are the nice to have. And finally, be ready to act quickly. In a competitive market, hesitation can mean losing out on a great home. When you've done the groundwork and you're prepared, you can make an offer confidently. Now, if you'd like to dive in deeper, I do have a 10-step buyer blueprint, which you can access via the QR code that's on your screen now. The third mistake that people often make is missing out on government programs. Many first-time home buyers believe they need to put down 20% to buy a home, but that's really just a myth. There are so many programs out there, grants, tax credits, low down payment loans that are specifically designed to help you. The problem is, if you don't know about these programs or don't take the time to explore them, you could delay buying a home unnecessarily or spend thousands more than you need to. So the key here is to research government programs that are in the area, whether they be provincial or national programs, and work with a lender who understands these programs and can guide you through your eligibility requirements. The fourth mistake is ignoring the hidden costs, right? It's easy to get fixated on the sticker price of the home, but that's only a part of the equation. There are additional costs like the inspection, closing fees, taxes, the ongoing maintenance that can quickly add up. If you're not prepared for these, they could totally derail your budget and add stress to the process. My advice, add a budget for an extra 2 to 5% of the purchase price to cover these costs. And don't be afraid to ask your lender or your realtor for a detailed breakdown up front. The more you know, the better prepared you'll be. And the final error we'll say is overpaying for your dream home. This happens when buyers let their emotions take over, especially when we get in a competitive market. There are multiple offers, right? Remember, your budget is there for a reason. It's designed to protect you from financial stresses down the road. The key here to avoiding this mistake is sticking to your pre-approval budget and working closely with your realtor. They can help you analyze market trends, price your offer competitively, and negotiate effectively. Now, as we've seen, these mistakes can cost buyers thousands of dollars, but the good news is they're completely avoidable. I often hear from clients that they never thought that the buying process could be so smooth, once that we had the right plan in place. And that's what this workshop's about. It's about giving you the tools, giving you the confidence you need to move forward. Now, what I'm offering is a free personalized home buying consultation where we'll map out your budget and pre-approval process, identify down payment assistance programs you'll qualify for, and create a step-by-step plan tailored to finding you your dream home. So you could click the link that's in the chat to book your free session. And throughout that session, as I mentioned earlier, we'll discuss pre-approval. We'll also explore all the government programs that are available for you. And the idea here is to avoid the common mistakes that people make when they're purchasing a property, and of course, get clarity and have confidence as you're taking action. Before we wrap up, let's open the floor for questions. This will give you a chance to get personalized advice and clarity what we've discussed.
Yeah, I've got a quick question. So I think when you were talking there, you said that one of the initial steps or one of the first things you have to do is get a pre-approval. What does that process look like? Like how long does it take? And I don't know anybody. Like, do you guys recommend somebody to work with? Yeah, what does that look and feel like, I guess?
Yeah, so the first step is, set up an appointment with your bank, right? I do have relationships, if you don't have anyone specific, with BMO. I have a relationship with Scotia, CIBC, TD to help with the approval process. And I also work with several B lenders.
Hmm.
Right? What they'll ask you for are for pay stubs, your uh, previous taxes, as well as they'll conduct a credit check, right? Now, so you want to make sure to have all that stuff ready, but keep in mind too. It's funny you asked that question because that was one of the questions that came in via the email. But that pre-approval will be good for about 90 to 120 days.
Okay.
Okay.
And so like what is the difference between talking to like a bank versus like, a mortgage broker? Like is one better than the other or like does it matter?
Well, the mortgage broker is going to be able to provide you with options that, well, they'll look for the best option for you, really. But when you're talking with the bank, what they're going to do is they're going to provide you the tool that the bank has themselves,
Okay.
right? So you'll have a bit more flexibility there.
Okay. Awesome.
Uh, hey, Ricardo, I think I have a question. It's kind of weird. It's just regarding the tariffs, the whole tariff situation going on with US and Canada. Does it affect buying a home with the tariffs going on? Like, just a quick question on that. I don't know if you can help me understand this.
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question, right? Like for a lot of people, is whether or not the timing's right with, you have tariffs, there's talk of potential recessions and things like that, right? When I look at the market, we're very much in a buyer's market in many parts of the city, right? You'll see properties stay on the market for a lot longer than you traditionally do. And because of that, you'll see prices really decreasing. And then when you also look at what's going on with interest rates, you really have almost a perfect storm to make that first purchase. But keep in mind, everyone's in a different situation, right? So this is truly general advice.
Mm-hmm.
My advice would be to schedule a meeting. We can go over your specific situation in depth and
Okay. Okay.
of course, from there, we'll be able to, better assess whether or not the timing is right for you, or maybe we should be waiting a couple months.
Okay. Sounds good. Yeah, so I can just book a consultation with you using the link. Okay, I see it. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other
So,
questions?
I've got one more here. So part of there, you said we have to be ready to act fast in the market. Like how fast are we talking about? Like is it like, super quick decision making or like is it like 24 hours for do we sometimes have a week? Like I'm just curious.
Yeah, it really depends on the property. Like if the property just come to market, then it's very likely that there's going to be a lot of excitement. And so the more excitement there is towards the property, the sooner you want to act,
Hmm.
right? The last thing you want to do is put in an offer and find out, or be ready to put in an offer and find out that property is no longer on the market.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, perfect. One other question that came in through the email was, what happens if the financial situation changes? Well, your pre-approval is going to be based on that specific time frame. So, in that application includes your income, like we talked about, your debt, credit score, savings. So, if any of these factors change, maybe a job loss or you've taken on new debt, lenders may need to reassess your eligibility. So, if you're planning on purchasing a new car, for example, my advice is to wait until after possession day. Right. And I guess another question that came in was regarding minimum down payments. How much do you need to put down? So it really depends on the purchase price of the property. So if you're purchasing a property for less than 500,000, you only need to put down 5%. If the property value is less than 1.5 million, it's 5% for the first 500,000, 10% for the remainder, right? And then anything above 1.5 million is 20%. The other question was in regards to hidden costs. Okay, so you want to look at inspections, which is approximately $500, uh, closing fees, notary public or lawyer, right? So that range anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000, really depending which route you decide to go to. And then you have your property taxes. Now, that's anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000. However, keep in mind that the seller will likely have to pay a portion of that as they've been in the property, and if they've already prepaid as well, maybe another scenario you might come across. Uh, Also, there is property transfer taxes. Now, there is a full exemption for first-time home buyers if the property is under 835,000. Now, is there any other questions at all? If not, thank you so much for joining me today. Remember, buying your first home is a journey, and you've taken the first step just by being here today. If you have any other questions or want to schedule a consultation, don't forget to click the link in the chat or scan the QR code. I look forward to helping you achieve your dreams of homeownership. Have yourselves a great day.